All right, hello and welcome to a session of our Fit Essentials Basics. My name is Shauna. I'm going to be guiding you through. We're going to be starting down on the floor today. So some of you are already headed down that way. If you have not already, please go ahead and make your way down to the floor. If you cannot get on the floor, but if you can lie on a bed or a couch somewhere that you can be on your back, we're going to be stretching out the low back, doing some glute bridge and some abdominal work. So let's go ahead and make our way on down. You can always use the chair if that helps you to lower yourself down, coming down to one knee and then the other. And then once you get down, we're going to come onto our back. And we're going to start with a little bit of stretching for the low back. I'll swing around this way so I can see a bit better. Sun in my eyes. And then once you're sitting down, just nice and slow, think about kind of lowering down about one segment at a time until your shoulders are all the way back and your head can rest down. And now from here, you're going to lift the body up, pull the shoulder back and down. And then same thing on the other side. Lift up, draw the shoulder blade back. And then you might find that your chin is like way up high in the air. You're going to lift the head, pull the chin in to get nice and neutral through the neck also. With the hands to the side, walk your feet so that they're just outside the hips. Feet planted. And then we're going to start with our windshield wipers. So just nice and gentle. You're going to lower your knees towards one side, then up and across, and bring both legs towards the other side. My feet are staying in contact with the floor, but I'm rolling onto the sides of my feet a little bit here. Pull the belly in, gently bring the legs across. Let's go about 3 times on each side. Once you know the motion, you can relax those eyes closed. And just get a little bit of internal and external rotation through the hips. One more time each direction, across, back to center, and across the other way. Super. All right, once you finish that, readjust the feet as needed. Check back in with the back. So I feel like I'm starting to rotate a little bit more forward. So I'm going to lift my hips a bit, pull the belly button down and in. And next we're going to work on what's called our abdominal draw. This is an exercise for the midline, especially that lower core. You want to imagine that we put a little whoopee cushion underneath the curve of your low back. You can even place your hands there if you're able to do that. Put your fingers underneath the low back. And then when you're ready, you're going to think about rolling the hips back, trying to pull your spine into the floor so you kind of feel that pressure into those hands. You hold that position for a couple of cycles of breathing, feeling that low back push into the floor, into your hands. And then whenever you need, you just let the hips roll forward, take a little bit of a rest. And we're going to practice this for right about a minute. So again, I pull the belly button in towards my spine, rocking that low back into the floor. You can also start to think about trying to fire some of the muscles of your pelvic floor. So think about it if you wanted to stop the strain of urine, if you're in the middle of going to the bathroom and suddenly you got interrupted, what would it feel like to just be like, okay, clench all those muscles without holding the breath. Rock the hips slightly forward, and then when you're ready, you'll pull them back. Oftentimes when we're first learning this movement, it's common that you'll be tempted to hold your breath as you're holding that midline contraction. You're going to practice breathing as you hold strong. Last one. And rest there. If you do have your hands underneath the low back, go ahead and take them out to the sides, palms down to the floor. If you need to readjust the feet at all, next, we're going to go into some glute bridges. So it's going to start the same. You're going to roll those hips back, flattening the low back into the floor. And now we push through the feet and gradually lift the hips up off the ground, trying to come up about one segment at a time. Knees pushing wide, still firing the booty, those little muscles of the pelvic floor. And then whenever you're ready, you'll slowly lower the hips back down. And that's our pattern for the glute bridge. So once you get all the way back to the floor, you'll roll those hips back once again, clench all those muscles of the pelvic floor best you can. As you push through your feet, activating the back side of the thighs, the glutes, squeezing the booty, and gradually coming down. Go about 3 more times here. You should be a little bit slower moving. The higher you're able to get your hips, the more you want to think about pulling your chin in towards your chest. So get a nice lengthening through the back of the neck as well. And then nice and slow, lowering those hips down. One or two more. Hips roll back, knees push wide, lifting on up. Chin draws into the chest. And then gradually lowering down. All right. Once you finish that rep, we're going to do a little bit of stretching. Take your left leg, slide that foot out so that leg's fully extended out on the ground, and then take your right knee. If you can interlace the hands, you want to try to grab just in front of the knee on the shin, and you're going to pull the right knee towards your right shoulder. It's a little bit of an inner thigh opener here. Actively push that left thigh down as you pull the right knee across the right shoulder, and now add some circles for the ankle. Rotate that ankle about 10 times each direction. Don't worry about counting, just kind of feel through it. I'll tell you when to switch directions. Normal to feel some clicks and pops in there. When you're ready, switch directions. Circle that foot and ankle the other way. Point the toes, lift the toes, circling through. Before we switch legs, we're going to stretch out the glute on this side. Take that right knee and gradually pulling it across the body towards your left shoulder. And the idea here is you get a little bit of a stretch in the outer hip on that right side. Close the eyes and breathe about 3 breaths here. I won't say it's normal, but it is common to feel a little bit of a pinch in the front of the hip. So don't go all the way into that. You shouldn't feel like you need to grimace on this. When you're ready, go ahead and release that leg, and we're going to switch sides. So pull that left leg up, bending the knee, leaving the foot flat for a second, and then extend that right leg out, fully extending the thigh. You want to actively push that thigh of the right leg into the floor as we lift the left leg up, interlacing the hands, grabbing in front of the shin, pulling that left knee towards the left shoulder to start, to open up that inner thigh a little bit. And now we go into our ankle rolls, about 5 to 10 times each way. Great time to relax those eyes closed. Look straight up towards the sky or ceiling and just close the eyes, feel into your body. Switch directions on those ankle rolls when you're ready. You're circling the ankle the other way. Still giving some attention to that right thigh. You still want to feel like you're trying to push it in towards the floor. Mine's definitely not touching the ground, but we're trying. And then when you're ready, we'll take the left leg, going into that glute stretch on the left side, pulling it across towards the right shoulder. And again, we're looking to lengthen a bit through the glute here. Breathe about 3 times. And relax when you're ready. Go ahead and set that foot down. Keep the knee bent. And now bring your right leg up to meet it. Bending the knee, foot flat on the ground. All right, that concludes set 1. We're going to go back to the abdominal draw, set 2. So when you're ready, start with the hips rocking back. I think you can put those hands there again to pull that low back into the hands. If you feel strong with this position, like you can hold it without holding the breath, you can advance it by now adding a heel slide to it. So what that means is I begin to slide the heel of one leg out, all the while holding that low back flat. And then I'll slide it up and in, pulling it all the way back. Take a rest for a second with that midline rest. Pull the belly back in. I'm going to go 3 times on each leg. So here's number 2 on the left leg. Really focusing through the midline here. Everything tight. Breathing and clenching. Resting when it comes back up. I'm going to go out for number 3 on the left, and then we'll switch. When you finish that 3rd time, now we turn the attention to the right leg. And if you don't feel like you're ready for these heel slides, just continue with that abdominal draw. It's a fantastic exercise, especially if you are prone to any kind of chronic low back pain. It's usually a lack of strength in that lower core. So this is a great exercise to activate that lower core. It will also take the back out of that hyperextended position that we tend to get stuck in as we're standing. It's my 3rd heel slide on the right. And then we're going to rest. Alrighty, take a moment there, a couple of breaths without worrying about anything going on at the midline. And then when you're ready with the palms to the side, we're gonna go back to our glute bridges, rolling the hips back into the floor, flattening that low back just on our abdominal draw, just like it. And now we start to lift up, hips up towards the ceiling, chin in towards the chest, gradually coming back down. We'll spend just over a minute here. Once you know the pattern, close the eyes. Again, feel that body move and breathe. These glute bridges are a fantastic exercise. Does a couple of things for us. We're opening the front of the hip as we lift those hips up. We're activating the back of the body, which tends to become very dormant when we sit a lot throughout the day. We don't use those glutes as much as is ideal for our body. And also that midline work. So we're still squeezing the pelvic floor, squeezing the midline, lowering up and down. Go one or two more times. Gradually raising those hips up, pulling that chin in towards the chest. Whew. Last time. Hips up, hips down. Once you get the hips all the way down, we're going to go into that stretch, double kneaded chest. So hugging both legs in and just a really gentle rock, keeping your head back and down. As you hug those legs in, I'm just grabbing both hands on front of my shins and gently swaying my lower back and my hips side to side. All right, that's our second set. We're going to take it one more time through. We're going to go back to our abdominal draw with the option of that heel slide. So once you've loosened up that low back, go ahead and place both feet flat on the ground with the knees bent. Hands either at the sides, or you could take the hands underneath that low back. It'll help you give a little bit more awareness to what's going on there. And then whenever you're ready, you'll pull the low back into the floor. Holding strong there with the option of the heel slide. I'm going to start with my left, slowly extending that knee out, gradually drawing it back up and in. When I get that foot flat on the ground again, I'm going to give a rest to that midline position. And then when I'm ready, I'll draw it back in, breathing, sliding the heel as I hold that position. It sounds like it's going to be easy, but it is definitely harder than it sounds. So be gracious with yourself. If you find it tough, I promise you're not alone. I had some low back irritation years ago, and I went in for some support from somebody, and I had to do this, and it was so hard. I was lifting a bunch of weights, but it was so hard to do these basic exercises. There might have been 4 heel slides on that side. If you haven't switched legs, if you're doing those heel slides, go ahead and switch over to the right leg, slowly sliding it out, slowly pulling it back, giving it some relief. It's always so fascinating to me, especially with athletes and people that are a little bit more advanced with their movements. You would be surprised at how much of the really basic stuff gets skipped over until something starts to go wrong with the body. And then it brings that awareness to that area that really might need some attention. We got to work those foundations. All right, I'm going to go one more time for good measure on the right side. And then we're going to get ready for our last set of glute bridge. All right, take a pause there. You want to bring the arms out to the side if they aren't already. And then when you can, we'll start by rolling those hips back, pulling that chin back into the chest, and nice and slow, raising the hips up towards the sky as you push your knees out nice and wide. Make sure you keep your whole foot planted on the ground, especially if you have bare feet or stocking feet on. See if you can kind of feel that big toe pushing down as well as you push through those heels. Think about lengthening through that low back as you raise your hips up. You want to stay as long as you can through that lower back. Chin draws in as the hips come up. Breathing in as you slowly lower. About 1 or 2 more times. Remember to try to clench the muscles of that pelvic floor. And when you finish that last rep, go ahead and rest. All right. We're going to repeat the glute stretch once again. So let's go ahead and extend your left leg out to start. We're going to pick the right knee up, interlace the hand in front of the knee, pull it in towards the same side shoulder, and then pull that right leg across towards that left shoulder, looking to get a nice stretch in that glute. We're going to hold here about 20 seconds. Try to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth with nice, relaxed, closed eyes. So one more breath there. Once you finish that exhale, go ahead and release that right leg. Foot flat on the ground with the knee bent. Bring the left leg up to meet it. Foot flat, knee bent. Then we'll extend the right leg out. Slide that heel out. We like to go all the way out with that right leg. And now we'll move into that glute stretch on the left. Interlace the hands in front of the shin. Hug it in towards the chest. Bring it across the body just a bit. Close the eyes and breathe here. In through the nose, out through the mouth. One more nice big breath. And release that left leg. Very good. We talk about doing the quad stretch from the floor a lot, and today we're going to show it. So if you can, go to roll over onto your side. So I'm rolling on my left side. I'm going to try to come on up and prop myself up onto my left elbow. So on the forearm here, on the elbow. Position yourself here. Block so I can see where we're at. And then once you're onto that left side, as able, you're going to bend that top leg. So bending the right knee or whichever leg's on top. And if you can grab the foot, I do talk about using a towel here if you can't grab the foot. But if you're able to grab that foot, you're going to pull it back behind you and just watch that you're not dropping into that downside shoulder. So think about lifting up out of that shoulder and you try to pull the foot towards your glute. Not force anything, just get a gentle stretch. You're going to hold about another 15 seconds here. If you feel any tension in the low back, try to squeeze the glutes and watch from not arching too much. Good. And then top shoulder back and down. Tends to shoot forward. I saw mine shooting forward. Nice, Shirley. If you're ready, go ahead and release that top foot. And then we're going to bring it around to the other side. So you can come on to all fours or whatever the best way is for you to get around to the other foot. Roll it on over. Good. Switching sides. And now we'll come onto the right arm. So you're going to place the forearm down and elbow of the right arm. Check in that you're not way out. Try to have that elbow right underneath your shoulder. Extend both legs. And then you're going to bend the knee of that top leg. Try to grab that foot. And then pull that heel straight back behind you. And about 20 seconds here. Top shoulder drawn back. Pulling the belly in so you don't arch that low back too much. Breathe as you stretch. Very good. And 3, 2, 1. If you're still holding that foot, go ahead and release. And then that's all we're going to do on the floor. So from here, we're just going to make our way back up to standing. And once you get there, we're going to meet you in the chair. One of the best ways to get up is if you can have a chair or a table to support on. Place the hands on the seat of the chair. Get that foot up and forward. You're trying to get that foot all the way flat like you're doing a lunge. And you can use the arms to drive into the seat of the chair. Pull yourself up to standing. Right. My jacket on. It's getting a little bit chilly. I think I forgot to mute, so I'm just going to add a mute button here. Okay. All right. Meet in the chair for a couple of stretches, and then we'll go into our next series. Yeah, we won't need it. All right. Have a quick drink. We're going to do our seated cat-cow next. Thanks for moving that camera, Shirley. Great to see you. Feet flat on the ground, hands on the bottom of the thighs, just over the kneecaps. You're going to roll those shoulders forward, pull the chin into the chest, blow the air out of your lungs through the mouth. And then when you're ready to breathe in, slide the hands up your thighs, draw the shoulders back, and just gently lift your head towards the sky. If you're inside, you want to be looking right about where the ceiling meets the wall, and then we'll exhale, slide the hands back down, pull those shoulders forward, draw that chin in towards the chest. 2 more times, breathing in, hands slide up the thighs, shoulders drop back, gently lift the head. And then breathing out, hands slide down, chin draws in, blowing that air out. 1 more time, nice deep breath, try to breathe in through the nose. Nice deep cleansing breath, shoulders draw back, head lightly lifts, very good. And final exhale here. Chuck that chin in towards the chest, pulling that belly in towards the spine, blow that air out. And release. Very good. Go ahead and sit up nice and tall, making sure you're right up on those sit bones. We're going to do our mid-back rotations next. So go ahead and take one hand. We're going to bring it behind the head. As you sit tall, you want to pull that elbow back behind you. When you're ready, you're going to bring that elbow up and across, trying to touch that opposite thigh or coming as close as able. And then sitting tall, you can use the hand that's not behind your head on the inside of the knee to gently encourage a little bit more rotation than we're looking over that shoulder. Breathing in, bring that elbow down and across. We're going to go 5 times on each side. Sit tall, exhale, and pivot. Good. Breathe in as you close it down. As we breathe out, we're going to get a little bit more rotation through that mid-back. We get the air out of the lungs. Give our torso a little bit more breathing room or moving room. 2 more. Down, lift, and open. Make sure you include that pause as you pull that elbow back behind you. That's where you get all the benefit of this movement when you're sitting tall and rotating as much as you comfortably can. We lose a lot of that ability to rotate unless you work on it. When you're ready, go ahead and switch sides. Remember, the hand that's not behind the head, I'm going to place on the inside of the knee. Start by drawing that elbow back. It's going to get a little bit of an opener through that chest. And then staying tall and long through the spine, we allow ourselves to round a bit, reaching across, bowing forward. And then we draw that elbow back, turn the head and neck, pausing in that open position. 5 times total. Down, lift and sit. Breathing out as much as you comfortably can when you're in that open rotated position. Go 1 or 2 more. Over, up, rotate. And last time, down, sitting tall, and get that nice, strong rotation. Very good. Go ahead and rest. All right, the water bottle's nearby. Let's grab a quick drink, and then we're gonna make our way up to standing. All right, I'm gonna clear my space here. All right, once you come on up to standing, we're gonna do a little bit more movement to warm up the spine. We're gonna start with our, what we've been calling our willow tree branches. So with our feet nice and wide, nice secure foundation, soft bend the knees. All of that work we did on the floor, we wanna apply that here. So what I was talking about is we tend to lose our hips forward. We wanna rotate those hips back, draw the belly in so we're nice and level through that low back. And then with that position, I'm gonna gently flow through here, rotating my body over to one side and then the other. Very nice. We're just gonna do the willow trees today. We're gonna not do all the tapping and such at the moment. Just wanna get a little bit of more spinal rotation because we have some hinging motions Practicing deadlifts in the next series. All right, go ahead and slowly come to a stop. And we're gonna walk the feet in a little bit closer. Check in with your toes. You want all 10 toes pointing straight forward. Sometimes one foot will toe out, so bring them all forward. I'm gonna turn to the side here. We're gonna practice some good mornings. So with a soft bend those knees, we're gonna cross the arms over the shoulder, lift those elbows up, long spine. Now we're gonna bow forward, send those hips back, pull the chin in as you raise those elbows up. Just get a little bit of a stretch in those hamstrings, and then push the feet, squeeze the glute standing tall. Let's go another 3 times here. So soft bend those knees, belly draws in, elbows raise up as we bow down, long spine. Fantastic, great. And then standing tall. Shirley, for your next 2, will you turn sideways to the camera there? See that mid back a little bit better. There you go, good. Rest those arms down for a moment. And when you're ready, elbows come up. Lift through that chest, soft bend those knees, pulling that belly in the whole time you send those hips back. Yeah, Shirley, that looks great today. Good. Bowing down, standing tall. And I think I said we'll do 1 more. So keep that bend in those knees, pulling that belly in. Long spine. Say hello to those hamstrings. Pull that chin back in if you're not looking forward. And standing tall. Wonderful. All right, 1 more stretch before we start. Wider base stance now. We're going to walk those feet wide, bend into those knees, midline nice and neutral as always, and we're going to try to reach the hands behind us. See if you can interlace those fingers behind you. If you can't, you can hold a towel or a band here. Extend those elbows, lift the chest. You can stay right here if this is a good challenge for you. If you are comfortable to add that forward fold, similar to what we just did, long spine, hips go back as you try to pull those arms up behind your back. And then just a couple of breaths. Breathing into where you feel that stretch. On that next inhale, come on back to standing. Woo. All right, shake out those arms. If you're gonna be able to use a little bit of weight, if you have a dumbbell, some gallon jugs, laundry detergent, anything that you can pick up off the ground, go ahead and bring it on over to your space. I'm going to be working with a dumbbell and then a kettlebell here today. And have that ready to go. 1 more stretch before we jump into it. It's going to be our toe touch stretch. So feet are going to be back in similar to those good mornings. All 10 toes pointing straight ahead, neutral through the middle. With that soft bend in the knees, now we're going to have our hands on our thighs. Chin comes down to the chest, holding strong through the belly. You're going to just gradually slide the hands down the legs. See where your range of motion is today. Never forcing, but how far can you reach on down? Push through your feet, come on back to standing. We're going to do this a total of 3 times. So I squeeze the glutes, pull the shoulders back. And then once you're standing tall, we'll do the same thing with that bend of the knees, chin to the chest, sliding back down, reaching down for the toes. For the ground, maybe you just get to the shins. When you're ready, you'll make your way back up, nice and smooth. It's common to feel a little bit of tension in the low back as you bow forward, but you don't want it to be painful. And then final time, draw the belly in, keep that bend to the knees, chin to the chest. And then on this last one, just take a note. If it's tough for you to get past the shins into the ankles, depending upon your weight, you may not want to go all the way to the floor. If you can confidently touch the ground, and you can do it without any tension in the back, then it might be appropriate to touch the ground. All right, go ahead and stand up from there. Walk your feet a little bit wider, and we're going to get ready to move into our first circuit here. We're starting with our little side stretch sway. So you're going to reach one arm up to overhead. Opposite hand comes towards that opposite thigh. You can kind of pivot on the foot a little bit as you reach up. And then just nice and smooth, we're going to go from one side to the other, reaching across, peering up at that hand, stretching out that side body. So I'm going to breathe in as my arms come down. I'm going to breathe out as I stretch that side body and gently peer up towards that hand. Good. Breathe in, switching sides, breathe out, reaching up, looking up. Very good. So about 1 or 2 more on each side. If you feel more stable to keep both feet planted, you could do it that way as well. Personally, I like to kind of pivot a little bit on the feet. I get a little bit more out of that side reach. And last one. Very good. All right, from there, we're gonna make our way to the deadlift. Deadlift sounds a little bit scary sometimes. It's just picking a weight up off the ground. I'd like for you to start with the weight in your hands. And I'm gonna hold my dumbbell here just at the top of the dumbbell. I'm gonna hold it right between my legs. Instead of rolling my shoulders forward, I wanna roll those shoulders back, walk my feet outside the hips with a soft bend the knees, pull that midline in, and now we're thinking long spine. Sending those hips back, keeping that weight right between the legs, and then coming down as far as you feel confident, ideally stopping before you feel any kind of strain in that low back. Remember, we talked about that range of motion. So if it was hard for you to touch the toes, it might be a little bit easier now that you have this wider base stance to bring your weight all the way to the floor. But if you're feeling a little bit of tension in the low back, stop just before that. So maybe I get my hands to about my knees, and then I stand from there. One or two more. Long spine as you bow forward, chin in, looking down as you bow forward. Push to the feet, squeeze the glutes, looking straight ahead at the top. Very good. Finish that last rep, and then use those same mechanics as you set the weight down, either on your table or setting it down to the side. All right, once you finish there, we've got some push-ups or simply holding a plank at the top. So I'm going to go back to my chair. A tabletop or the back of the couch also works fantastic. With your feet about hip width apart, you're going to place one hand down under each shoulder. From here, you're going to walk the feet back, bringing your weight forward onto your arms. Maybe this is your position for the day. Belly drawn in, holding this plank. If you feel like you want the challenge of the push-ups, keep your hips up and just move through your shoulders, lowering your chest down, drawing those elbows in towards the sides, and then pushing away nice and strong. Shoulders draw back as you lower that chest down, coming as close as you can to that surface. Bonus points if you can touch your chest all the way to your table, wherever you're working, but never want to feel like you're going to collapse into it. You get to where you're like, oh, that was a really hard rep. I don't think I can do another, but maybe you can hold the top position. You've got just about 5 seconds left. So I'm going to stay up here and breathe. 2, 1, and walk it in, stand it up. Woo! Good job. That's the end of set 1. Let's grab a drink. If it's a little bit uncomfortable on those wrists, it's a good practice to kind of loosen up those wrists a bit more. So we'll get ready for the next round. Rolling those wrists through. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a drink. We're gonna start back with that side stretch, and then we'll go into our deadlifts for one more round. The deadlift should be the heaviest exercise that you do. So if you have anything that's a little bit heavier than what you just used, if you feel comfortable to bring that weight into the picture, then we'll do that heavier weight next. But first, make sure you have a little bit of space for that side step, side stretch sway. So moving into our side stretch with our feet nice and wide, midline nice and strong. You're going to take one hand, reach to the opposite thigh, while that hand reaches up to overhead, peering up at that hand, breathing out, breathing in as you go to switch directions. Long reach here, hand reaches across, other arm reaches up. So right now I'm doing it with both feet firmly planted. Next, I'll show with a little bit of shift. I'll go second side, nice and smooth here. You want to just feel like you're gliding through these positions. Very good. So if you want to add a little bit of a pivot, the side that I'm reaching to, I can kind of, side I'm reaching away from, I can come up onto the ball of the foot. We'll give just a little bit stronger stretch to that side. And same thing. So the hand that reaches under is the foot that comes onto the ball of the foot. Reach and release. All right, getting ready for the deadlifts. So I'm going to stand right over top of my weight, walk those feet out. If it's on the table, then you can pick it up and bring it right between the legs. With that wide base stance, midline neutral, send the hips back, push the knees wide, chin in. And then when you're ready, we're going to push through the feet, keeping that weight close to our body, stand straight up. And then long spine, bowing down, knees push out. Chin pulls in. Breathe out as you push the feet. Squeeze the glutes. standing tall, nice and controlled. Notice I'm not letting that weight swing away from me. So I'm using my upper body to kind of lock those shoulder blades back and in. Right about halfway, good focus. Bowing down, holding strong. Nice, Shirley, good. Controlling that weight down. Maybe one or two more. And 2, 1, and rest. Very good. Back to the push-up position. Set the weight out of the way. Making your way to your tabletop, your chair, even a wall can work great for push-ups. The lower your surface, the harder it's gonna be. Wide handprint as you place those hands down. Walk the feet back as you draw the belly in. And then shift your weight forward so your arms are doing most of the work. You can either hold here and breathe or drawing those shoulders back, pulling the elbows into the sides. We really see people wing those elbows too wide. It's gonna be harder on the shoulders. And then push up and away. Trying to squeeze that lower body, keeping everything nice and tight. 30 seconds left. We'll come a little closer. There you go, Shirley, good. Down, driving away. Excellent, good strong push. Maybe one or two more. Yeah. Pushing up. And I can't see the hips, but just make sure that we keep the hips lifted, belly pulled in. Last one here. Controlling down, drive out. So elbows stay back and down, not wide. Locking it out and rest. Nice job. Go ahead and come on off. We're gonna do our chair or wall stretch next. I'm just gonna turn my chair around here. Use this for this stretch. Right, we're all done with the heavier weights. We've got some dumbbell rows in our last circuit, but first we're gonna stretch that mid back. So either a wall or I'm gonna use the chair here. I'm gonna walk my feet back, bend into those knees, draw the belly in, and then you're gonna lower your head between your arms. Get a nice stretch through the lats, into the mid back. Looking to protect that low back. So I pull the belly button in, making sure I don't just lose that position through that low back. And now we're breathing here, breathing into the back of the rib cage, and on the exhale, invite your heart to come a little closer to the floor. Again, big breath in, into the back of the rib cage as you exhale, keeping that bend to the knees, lowering the chest down. Now, as you hold this position, if you want to stretch the back of the legs a little bit more, you can extend the knees slightly, feel the hamstring stretch, and then bend the knees back in. So keeping the belly strong, you can extend those knees. Try not to lock them out, but just say hi to the hamstrings and then bend the knees forward. One or two more. Knees extend, knees bend. If you are loose in your hamstring and quite long back there, you may not have enough stretch to really feel effective, but if you're tight in your hamstrings, you'll feel it. But come on up, walk those feet in, and shake it out from there. Woo. All righty. So once you're standing tall, we'll just do some nice gentle torso rotations with the arms bent, turning the body to one side and then the other. All right, one more circuit left. We're going to start with practicing our squats. Once you've loosened up that low back, let's go ahead and grab another drink of water. I'm going to have to spin my chair around once again. We're going to be doing some squatting, some dumbbell rows, and some step jacks in between sides. All right, so for the squat, you can hold on to something if you'd like. I'm going to demo without holding on today. We're going to walk the feet about hip width apart, have just a gentle toe out, so nothing extreme, like a 5-degree angle or so with the toes turned out. Take my socks off so you can see my feet a little bit better. And then from here, you're going to keep the heels planted, draw the belly in, reach those arms straight out in front, chest tall this time, eyes looking straight forward, and you drive down into your feet and stand tall. So whenever you're ready, Join me with this practice here. Reaching out, knees push wide. Really key to keep that whole foot planted. And then I'm thinking about pushing straight down into that floor. Very good. Standing tall. Midline draws in, shoulders down out of those ears. Sitting those hips back. Knees are still pushing wide. Try to find your big toe. See, as you push those heels down, you can also push that big toe down. Awesome. One or two more. Shoulders back and down. Eyes looking forward. Awesome job. And rest from there. Next, if you have a dumbbell, a water bottle, anything that you can row with your upper body, go ahead and find that. And then make your way to your tabletop, the chair, somewhere that you can support the opposite arm. So the feet about hip width apart, you're gonna draw the abdomen in, soft bend of those knees. You're gonna support the one hand down, other arm in the reach forward. And when you're ready, we're gonna pull that elbow nice and high. Breathe in as you reach forward, exhale as you draw that elbow up. Nice. Breathe in, breathe out on the row. Good. Once you have that movement pattern in your mind, turn that head forward. No staring at that screen. Instead, I'd like you to focus on either the ground right underneath you or that front support hand. Nice pattern. Good. Breathing in as you reach forward, pulling that elbow nice and high. 10 seconds left. Ensure you're not allowing that low back to arch, so keeping that back flat, belly in, and knees bent. Last 1, 2, 1, and rest. Set that weight down and come on up to standing. In between arms, make sure you know which arm you are doing. I was on my right arm. If you're mirroring me, it may have been your left. So just take note. And then when you're ready, we're gonna do some step jacks. Stepping out, reaching those arms up to overhead. Stepping in, bring the arms down to the sides. Step out, step in. Good. Breathing as you move. If it's uncomfortable to reach up to overhead, or if that's not workable for your shoulders, we call them seal jacks. Reach those arms out, close those arms straight in front. Open and close. Good. If you can go overhead, that's the preference today. Keep those shoulders moving. We don't have any other overhead work besides the overhead stretch we did with the side stretch. Good. 1 or 2 more. Open, close, open, and rest. Nice job. Going back to that dumbbell row. This time I'll be on my left arm. I'm going to use this tabletop over here. Remember, draw the middle in. Feet about hip width apart. Wide handprint on that support arm. Walk those feet back. And 2, 1. Here we go. Nice high pull of that elbow. Turn that head forward so you're looking straight down, and think about drawing that chin in towards the chest. Sometimes we start to lose our head and neck forward. So activate those little muscles in the front of the neck. Breathe in as you reach. Exhale on that row. You can add that pause in at the top. Squeezing that shoulder blade back and in. Reaching forward. Pulling it back. Got about 10 seconds. And 3, 2, 1, and set that weight down. Good job. Come on up. Shake it out. In between sides, we're going to work a little bit of some march and punch. Kind of lift the knee up, punch the body, punch the arm across the body, punch the body. This is a balance exercise as well. So you want to really push down, lift up as you punch across. See if you can time it with that breathing to breathe out with that punch. Good. Nice. Great upward punch. Keeping that hand right about level of the shoulders. Oop, lost my balance a little bit there. Let's get out 1 more on each side. Down, up, and rest. Beautiful. Grab a drink of water. We're going to take about 30 seconds, and then we'll have 1 more time through, starting back with those squats. All right, up about 20 seconds. You're done with your water. Let's just circle the hips a little bit, about 3 times each direction. Good. Circle the hips the other way when you're ready. Snap those hips and low back. All right, here we go for our second round. So walk those feet out, that gentle toe out, draw the shoulders back, draw the abdomen in, and when you're ready, knees push wide, eyes stay up, arms reach out. Encourage that chest to stay tall. And you're gonna push straight down through the feet, come all the way up to standing. Breathing in as you lower down. Breathing out as you stand. Just like last time, we want to push through those heels, but really the full foot. So try to find that big toe as well. So common, I'll see people focus on their heels and all the toes lift up. You want to have a nice, strong base of support. So the whole foot is planted, whole foot pushes down. Very good. 1 or 2 more. Breathing. Finish that rep, and let's make our way for the dumbbell row. Try to start in your non-dominant arm. If you know you're a little bit stronger on one side, start on the side that's not quite as strong. Neutral foot position, midline strong, wide handprint as you come into support. Reach that arm down and forward with the dumbbell, and then when you're ready, elbow high. Breathe in as you reach forward, exhale as you row. Get a lot of touches on our dumbbell rows and our seated rows with a band. We like to build that strength in the mid-back. It's really key for our posture. Also really good at helping with any kind of chronic pain in the shoulders, the neck area. So a lot of times that chronic pain comes from poor posture. So the stronger that we can be, the better positions we're gonna hold. Breathe in as you reach forward, elbow nice and high. We've got 10 seconds. Making sure you're not starting to arch that low back. Belly pulls in towards the spine. Last one. Reach forward, draw it high, and rest. Set the weight down. Take note of which arm you are using. And we've got our step jacks in between arms. Coming right up to standing. So remember, you have the option. Seal jacks, arms out to the shoulders, or our preference, step jacks, arms up to overhead. Good. Beautiful. Smile. Open those shoulders. Grateful to be alive. Give thanks for the day. We always can find something to complain about, but there's also a lot to be grateful for. The more we practice gratitude, the more it helps our mood. And the better our mood, the better our health, because our body's not trying to figure out what we're stressed about. I want to try to find those little moments of joy. Let's go about 1 more here. Open it up, close it down, and rest. All right, we've got that opposite arm, and we'll be done with this circuit. So make your way down to that dumbbell row. Set the feet, draw the belly in. Soft bend in the knees throughout. Reaching forward in 2, 1, here we go. Breathe in on that forward reach. Breathing out on that row. The lighter the dumbbell, the more you want to give a little pause at the top. So I can pull that dumbbell nice and high, squeeze that elbow in. Trying to imagine that you're trying to touch your shoulder blade in towards your spine. It's not literally going to happen. I mean, I'm sure that there's somebody out there that can do it. But it's more of the concept, that idea of trying to imagine that little shoulder blade, kind of like a triangle shape on the back of your rib cage. You want it to not rotate out on the rib cage, but sit back. Let's get about 1 more. Nice forward reach, nice high row of that elbow, and take a rest. Woo! Good job. Set it down, stand it up. And we're gonna start back with our willow tree. Moving into our cool down now. Nice and fluid here. And now we'll add the knocking on the doors of heaven. All that means is I want you to let the elbows bend, let the hands lightly tap the torso. So one hand touches the front of the torso, the other hand touches the back of the torso. See if you can time that tap with your exhale. Good. Idea is you're giving a little tap to our kidney meridian area. Just keep some good energy flowing through there. Good, slow it down a little bit more, going back to those willow trees. Nice long branches, keeping the shoulders down out of the ears. Feeling that body flow. Very nice. Slowly bring yourself to a stop. Try not to be too abrupt with your movements. Walk those feet in just a little bit closer. And now we'll go back to our hip circles. We just did those about one time in between sets as we were warming up for that second set. There you go. Nice smooth swivels here. All right, let's start to rotate the hips the other way. Wonderful. All right, and when you finish that, go ahead and grab a drink of water and meet me in the chair. We'll do a handful of stretches together to finish. All right, so make sure that as you come to seated, you're really sitting right up on your sit bones. Kind of even actually move the flesh of your hips up and out of the way. Once you've established that you're sitting up nice and tall, we're gonna start with our seated forward fold. So you're gonna bring the hands to the bottom of the knees, the front of the kneecaps here. Shoulders are rolled forward just a bit. Pull the belly in towards your spine as you tuck your chin down to your chest. And then from here, we're gonna slide the hands down the shins. And you get to choose how far you wanna reach. We're just looking for a nice gentle stretch into the mid back or the low back. And then once you're feeling that stretch, if you're okay there, try to hold it for a couple of cycles of breathing. So we'll try to breathe in nice and deep, expanding that area that feels a little tight. And then on the exhale, see if your body wants to lower a bit lower. When you're ready, on that next inhale, start to walk your hands up your legs and come on back to seated. Very good. Walk the feet in a little bit closer, and we're just going to do some simple shoulder rolls next. So we're going to go backward shoulder rolls, bringing them up and into the ears and rotating them back and down. Up and in, back and down. Good. So we tend to go here, especially if it's cold weather right now, or we're stressed out, we tend to start to bring our shoulders up and into the ears. So we'll go ahead and let them come up and into the ears, but then we'll say, hey, we want you all to live back and down. All right. Once you finish that, we're going to do our cross body toe touch. So we're going to take one hand, sitting tall still, reach it across to the opposite knee. So if you're reaching across to your right knee, you can use your right hand to hold on to the seat. And then from there, similar to what we did with that forward fold, chin in, belly pulls in, and I'm going to slide the hand down the outer aspect of that shin, just until I get a bit of a stretch. Typically, you're going to feel it on the opposite side that you're reaching away from. And then just like that forward fold, use the breathing in nice and deep into that area that you feel that tension. On the exhale, see if your body wants to go a little bit more into that stretch. Maybe one more breath. On that next inhale, you can push into the seat of the chair. Gradually bring yourself back up to that seated position. And then we'll balance it out on the other side. So if you're mirroring me, this is probably your left. Otherwise, it's my right. I'm going to grab on with that hand to this push to the chair. Opposite hand, I'll reach out to the side, reach it across, grabbing onto that, not grabbing, but just touching the outside of the knee. And then from there, chin to the chest, slide on down, controlling how far you go. You just want a gentle stretch. You don't want it to be painful. With that chin to the chest, now breathe into that area of tension. We'll go 2 to 3 breaths here. Keep bowing that head down. On that next inhale, push into the seat of the chair, slide the hand up the shin, and sitting nice and tall. Very good. All right, almost done. We're gonna go our apple pickers. We're gonna imagine that apple tree hanging out here on our patio or in the living room. We'll reach across, pulling it back. Reach across, grab that apple, and then pulling it all the way back. So when I say pull it back, I mean pull your elbow back, pull your shoulder back, open the chest in between, and then we'll go to the opposite side. So first we'll start by reaching across. And then if you're able, reach a little bit more overhead. And you can even peer up and kind of look up at that hand, reach across, peering overhead, pulling that elbow back and down still. Reach and back. Let's get one more on each side. Reaching over, draw it back, and finish it out. Over and back. Wonderful. All right, and then we'll give some love to the neck area. So shoulders back and down, starting with that chin to the chest. Draw the chin in, looking straight down. Feel a nice stretch in the back of the neck. From here, we'll just gently looking up, tilt the head back, gently lift the chin. Good, we're gonna go twice more, looking down. If you're comfortable to add a very slight overpressure, you'll take your fingertips. Imagine you're trying to put the weight of a nickel, like a coin, on top of your head. So it's super light, looking down, looking straight ahead. And then as you look up, you can cross your hands just underneath your collarbones, draw the skin down lightly, and then you'll look up from there. Good, bring the chin back forward. On this last time, as we look down, we're gonna go one side and then the other. So sitting tall, I'm gonna first bring my chin straight down towards my chest, and I'm gonna imagine I'm trying to touch my chin to my right collarbone. And just doing that, I know for myself, I feel a little bit of stretch on the left side of my body. You can think about drawing that left shoulder back and down. You'd like to use the right hand, fingertip again, barely touching the head. Should be a very subtle stretch. When you're ready, come out of that, and then we'll do the same thing other side. Let's set the shoulder first. So rotate the shoulder up and back. You can even sit on this hand. I got a nice cushioned seat here, so it doesn't hurt to sit on that palm. That helps traction that shoulder down. I start with the head neutral, looking straight down first. And then imagine you're a mirror me. So bring the chin across toward it would be your left collarbone. And just with that alone, I feel a bit of a stretch in the back of the neck, along the side of the neck, running down to my trap. If you'd like, you can use the side, your left side, one finger on the opposite side of the head, just giving a little extra stretch. Just holding it for a moment and then coming up out of that. Very good. Rotations, turn the head, looking over one shoulder, back to center, and then turn the head, looking over the other shoulder. Good. Looking forward. You can use the fingertips again, up on the cheekbone. Make sure you're not on your jaw. So over by your nose on the cheekbone, just a very soft overpressure. Turn your eyes as well as you're trying to look over that shoulder. Back to center, and we'll balance it out on the other side. Sitting tall, chin pulled in as you turn the head. If the sun's not in your eyes, turn the eyes looking over that shoulder. And one or two fingers on the cheekbone, encouraging it, just a very slight more rotation. I'm not sure that was proper English, but hopefully you got the gist. All right, go ahead and release that position, and then a couple head circles. Gently rotating the head and neck around, 2 to 3 in each direction. Switch directions when you're ready. Fantastic. All right, and then our finishing breaths together. Go ahead and bring your hands out to the side, sitting up nice and tall. As you breathe in, we're gonna shrug those shoulders up. This is where our shoulders tend to come towards in times of stress. And so then we're going to exhale, let go of all that stress, tension, try to have a nice long neck as you draw those shoulders down, broaden your chest. Twice more. Breathe in nice and deep. You can close your eyes as you do so. In through the nose, shoulders elevate out, out through the mouth. Arms out to the sides, shoulders back and down. Final time. Breathe in, elevate those shoulders up, and breathe out. Shoulders back and down. Fantastic. All right, give yourself a little round of applause. Thank you, Shirley, for being here live. Pleasure to work with you today. If anybody on the recording had a fantastic workout yourself, we'll be headed back to Colorado for next week's sessions. We'll be back on Monday at our normal time. Keep moving, stay healthy, stay hydrated.